Hello, and welcome back to a new lesson. Today's video is about Learn Past Simple through a beautiful story, The Old Man and the Little Boy. Have you ever wondered how a single moment can change an entire life? Sometimes, the most important lessons do not come from books, schools, or famous people. Sometimes they come from a simple act of kindness. Today, you will learn the past simple tense through a beautiful story about a boy named Henry. As you read, pay attention to the verbs in the past tense. They will help you understand how English speakers talk about completed actions in the past. And don't forget to like and subscribe to learn more in the next videos. Many years ago, a little boy named Henry lived in a peaceful village surrounded by green hills, flowing streams, and majestic mountains. The village was not famous and it was not rich, but it was a wonderful place to grow up. The people knew one another, helped one another, and enjoyed the simple pleasures of life. Henry was one of the happiest children in the village. He was curious about everything around him and loved learning new things. Every morning, he woke up early, ate breakfast with his family, and walked to school along a narrow path that passed through a beautiful forest. He enjoyed this daily journey because nature always showed him something new. Some mornings he saw colourful birds flying above the trees, and on other days he watched rabbits running through the grass. The forest felt like a magical world to him, and every walk became a small adventure. One bright spring morning, Henry left his house earlier than usual. The sun shone warmly across the valley, and a gentle breeze moved through the branches of the tall trees. As he walked along the familiar path, he noticed something unusual beneath a large oak tree near the road. An old man sat quietly in the shade. His clothes looked dusty, his shoes appeared worn out, and his face showed signs of exhaustion. He held a wooden walking stick in one hand and rested silently as if he had travelled for many miles. Most children would have continued walking without stopping, but Henry felt concerned. He slowed down, approached the stranger, and politely asked if he was all right. The old man slowly lifted his head, smiled kindly, and explained that he had walked a very long distance from a village beyond the mountains. The journey had been difficult, and he needed a place to rest before continuing. Henry listened carefully and immediately felt sorry for the traveller. Without thinking twice, he opened his school bag and took out the sandwich and bottle of water that his mother had prepared for him that morning. He offered them to the old man and encouraged him to eat. At first, the traveller refused because he did not want to take food from a child. However, Henry insisted and explained that the old man needed it more than he did. The traveller finally accepted the gift and thanked him warmly. His eyes filled with gratitude as he ate the sandwich and drank the water. After a few moments, he looked at Henry and said that very few people stop to help strangers these days. He explained that many people hurried through life without noticing those who needed help. Then he told Henry that kindness was one of the most valuable qualities a person could possess. Henry smiled shyly, wished the old man a safe journey, and continued walking to school, feeling happy that he had helped someone. Throughout the day, Henry could not stop thinking about the traveller. During his lessons, he wondered whether the old man had enough strength to continue his journey. During lunch, he remembered the sandwich he had given away, but instead of feeling hungry or regretful, he felt proud and satisfied. Something about helping the stranger made him feel different. It was a small act, yet it brought him a sense of happiness that was difficult to explain. When the school day finally ended, Henry packed his books and began his journey home through the forest. The afternoon sun painted the sky with beautiful shades of gold and orange, and the cool air felt refreshing after a long day in the classroom. As Henry approached the large oak tree again, he looked around for the traveller, but the old man was nowhere to be seen. The place appeared empty and peaceful. Just as Henry prepared to continue walking, he noticed something shining in the grass. Curious, he bent down and discovered a small wooden box. It looked old but beautiful, and delicate carvings covered its surface. Henry carefully picked it up and examined it from every angle. There was no name on it, and no one else was nearby. Slowly, he opened the lid and found a folded piece of paper inside. His curiosity grew even stronger as he unfolded the note and began reading. The message was short, but its words touched him deeply. It said, "The greatest treasure in life is kindness. People may forget your name, your appearance, and your possessions, but they will always remember how you made them feel." Henry read the message several times. The words seemed simple, yet they carried a powerful meaning. He immediately thought about the old traveller and wondered if he had left the box behind as a gift. That evening, Henry showed the box and note to his parents. His father carefully read the message and nodded with approval, while his mother smiled warmly. They explained that kindness often returned to people in unexpected ways, and that helping others was one of the greatest things a person could do. Henry listened carefully and placed the wooden box on a shelf beside his bed. From that day forward, he never forgot the message inside it. Whenever he looked at the box, he remembered the tired traveller beneath the oak tree and the lesson that came from their brief meeting. As the years passed, Henry continued practicing kindness whenever he had the opportunity. One cold winter morning, he saw an elderly neighbour struggling to carry heavy firewood through deep snow. Without hesitation, Henry rushed over and helped carry the wood to the neighbour's home. On another occasion, he found a frightened puppy wandering alone near the forest. Instead of ignoring it, he searched the village until he located the owner. The grateful family thanked him repeatedly for returning their beloved pet. At school, Henry often helped classmates who struggled with difficult subjects. He shared his notes, explained lessons patiently, and encouraged students who lacked confidence. Because of his generous spirit, he gained many friends and earned the respect of teachers and neighbours alike. Whenever people spoke about him, they often mentioned his kindness before anything else. Years later, Henry finished school and moved to a larger town to continue his education. Leaving his village was not easy, but he remained determined to learn and grow. During his studies, he worked hard and treated everyone with respect. One evening, while walking home from the library, he noticed a man sitting alone on a bench. The stranger looked worried and discouraged. Many people passed by without paying attention, but Henry remembered the lesson he learned as a child. He approached the man and asked whether everything was all right. The stranger explained that he had recently lost his job and felt hopeless about the future. Henry listened patiently for a long time. He offered encouragement, shared positive words, and reminded the man that difficult situations often improved with time. Before they parted ways, the stranger smiled for the first time that evening and thanked Henry sincerely. Once again, Henry realised that helping someone did not always require money or material gifts. Sometimes people simply needed someone who cared enough to listen. After completing his education, Henry became a teacher. He loved teaching because it allowed him to help young people discover their potential. His students admired him not only because he was knowledgeable, but also because he treated everyone with kindness and respect. Whenever a student made a mistake, Henry encouraged improvement instead of criticizing failure. Whenever someone felt nervous or discouraged, he offered support and understanding. He created a classroom where students felt safe, respected, and motivated to learn. Over the years, countless students passed through his classroom, and many of them remembered him long after graduation. Time moved forward, and Henry eventually became one of the most respected teachers in the region. Former students often returned to visit him and share stories about their lives. Some became doctors, others became engineers, artists, business owners, and community leaders. Yet many of them told Henry the same thing. They said they remembered his kindness more than his lessons. They remembered the encouragement he gave them when they doubted themselves. They remembered the patience he showed when they struggled. They remembered the respect he demonstrated toward every student, regardless of their background or abilities. Hearing these stories filled Henry with gratitude, because they reminded him that the smallest acts of kindness could create lasting impacts. Many decades later, Henry retired from teaching. The school organised a special celebration in his honour, and hundreds of former students attended the event. They shared memories, expressed gratitude, and thanked him for the positive influence he had on their lives. During the ceremony, Henry stood before the audience and delivered a heartfelt speech. He told them about the old traveller he met beneath an oak tree when he was a young boy. He described how he offered his lunch to a tired stranger and later found a wooden box containing a simple but powerful message. Then he repeated the words that had guided him throughout his life. The greatest treasure in life is kindness. The audience listened silently, and many people felt emotional as they reflected on the truth of those words. That evening, after the celebration ended, Henry returned home and opened the small cabinet where he still kept the wooden box. His hair had turned grey, and many years had passed since that spring morning in the forest, but the memory remained vivid in his mind. He carefully opened the lid, unfolded the note, and read the familiar message once more. As he looked through the window toward the distant forest, he smiled. He never discovered who the traveller truly was, and perhaps he never needed to know. What mattered was the lesson he learned that day. A simple act of kindness changed the direction of his life, inspired him to help countless people, and allowed him to leave behind a legacy that others would remember for generations. Henry understood something many people never realised. True wealth did not come from money, fame, or possessions. True wealth came from the lives he touched, the hearts he encouraged, and the kindness he shared with the world. And that was the greatest lesson he ever learned. Well done! Now, can you write some of the verbs that you've learned through this life lesson story? Write them in the comment and tell me their meanings.